Wildlife Federation has launched a Help the Turtles initiative. We have all the details right now with James Paget, species at risk and biodiversity specialist with the CWF. Good to have you here. We also have Josh Bulgen with us as well. Wildlife educator, Little Rays, always doing great things in our community. Can you introduce us to your little friend there as well?
Yeah, this here is Jellybean. She's a spotted turtle. It's a native species here in Ontario.
Jellybean, cute. James, tell us about the amazing things that CFW does.
CWF, yeah.
Sorry, yes.
So one of the things, as you mentioned, the Help the Turtles campaign, so helptheturtles.ca, there's a bunch of information on Ontario's native turtles and rest of Canada. We also, personally, I work on at-risk bats as well. My title is involved with species at risk, so everything related to species at risk, surveys, as well as some policy and advising in the federal government. But we also have a awareness and outreach side of things in an education department. So,
okay, and you're here to educate us on how to keep turtles safe, basically. It's nesting season right now? Okay, so what is the issue that's going on right now?
So basically, and especially with nesting season, the females are leaving the waters to find a nesting site. And depending on the species of turtles, sometimes they'll move up to 2 to 4 kilometers away from the wetlands to find a site. And in doing so, they're crossing roads. And so they're more active right now during nesting season. When they cross roads, they tend to get hit by cars. Actually, in the last 2 years of surveys we've done alone in the Ottawa area, we found over 1,000 dead turtles on the roads.
My gosh. So road mortality is a major culprit of the issue that's going on right here. Because, I mean, is it true that almost every species is in risk of being endangered?
Yeah, so we have 8 different species of turtle in Canada and Ontario as well. And all 8 are listed, assessed to be at some level of endangerment, some more than others, but they're all assessed to be at risk.
Wow, okay.
So mortality, when especially the mothers are being hit, you lose an entire generation or multiple generations if that female is no longer reproducing.
Wow. Let's talk about some tips on how we can obviously solve this problem. But first, maybe we can bring out another turtle, because you brought a bunch with you here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you brought a big fella with you, but should we wait or should we bring him out now?
I want to wait till the end,
all right.
save the best for last.
Save the best for last. They're all great turtles, though. So obviously, with Little Rays, you deal with these fellas all the time. Now, what is this turtle?
This one here is called a map turtle. They get their name from the top of their shell, sort of has markings that look a bit like a topographic map.
Wow.
It's pretty easy to identify them from
And
that.
how old would that guy be?
It's really hard to tell for reptiles how old they are, and because most of our animals are rescues or surrendered pets, we don't really know how old most of them are.
It's hard to
but
judge.
like most turtles, they tend to be pretty long-lived, so you could honestly be anywhere from 10 to 50 years old for all I know.
Okay, so we'll get you to get the third turtle out while I ask James about what can be done when it comes to road safety and getting these turtles off the road.
Yeah, so that's part of what we're trying to do right now is basic awareness. So we're trying to educate people to have a lookout, especially when you're driving near wetlands, to keep your eyes on the road, which you should be doing anyway. But look a little closer on these turtles. As we were seeing, they're not that big. So to make sure you slow down, especially around wetlands, avoid them, and if you can, stop if it's safe to do so and it's safe for yourself, traffic-wise, and actually move the turtle off the road.
Okay, is it safe to touch a turtle, to pick them up?
Yeah, I mean, the only one we'll be concerned about would be the snapping turtle.
Okay.
I mean, like any wild animal, you don't want to be touching too much and then eating your food right afterwards, so you might want to wash your hands.
Okay.
But you'd always want to pick the turtle up, and you always want to move in the direction it's going, not necessarily the closest side of the road.
Okay.
But with the snapping turtle, yeah, they get their name since they snap. They can turn. They actually, despite being a turtle, they can turn pretty quickly.
Okay.
The one that Josh has today is pretty docile because it's tame.
We need to get to him quickly, but we shouldn't be worried too much about this
No,
little
this
fella.
one's a little camera shy. It's a musk turtle, also called a stink pot turtle. They emit a foul odor when they feel threatened.
Okay, nice. Hello. Wonderful. Let's get to the snapping turtle, but should you report turtle sightings? So it will help you guys know exactly where the turtles are?
Definitely. So we also have an initiative. We've spearheaded the Canadian version of iNaturalist, so iNaturalist.ca, so people can report their sightings there. And it's good for turtles, but for any wildlife species. But in particular, we're looking for turtle observations. So take a photo. There's an app with your phone or digital camera and upload it there.
Okay. I am listening to you, but I'm also a little distracted.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you explain, Josh, who you have here?
This is Stormin Norman. He's a common snapping turtle, largest species of turtle in Canada.
Yeah.
This guy is probably about 30 to 40 pounds, which is the typical size you'd find them, but they have been recorded up to 75 pounds.
Okay, so what parts of Ontario, Ottawa area would you see a snapping turtle like this?
Pretty much anywhere. Right?
Really?
We see them right in Mud Lake, right in Ottawa. One thing as I mentioned, moving snapping turtles, we have a video on our website on how to move a snapping turtle off the road.
Okay.
So at helptheturtles.ca to actually see how to move those.
Never pick them up by the tail either, right?
Correct.
That's
It's
interesting
part
to
of
do.
their spine, so you could actually sever their spine if you're lifting them by the tail.
Gosh. So you should never put your hands, I think he's going to the washroom right now, that's fine.
Yeah,
You
a
should
little bit.
never put your hands near a snapping turtle, correct? Okay, like near his mouth. Scary stuff.
They do have a pretty sharp beak. They've never been recorded biting off fingers or anything. That's a bit of a myth, but definitely would pack a bit of a punch.
He's making a mess there. All right,
buddy.
CanadianWildlifeFederation.org for more details on how you can help the turtles. Thanks, guys. Thank you. More daytime coming up.